好，大家好，先前女士，我叫苏海，我是哥伦比亚中国投资贸易商会的经理，在中国的哥伦比亚大使路易斯·迪戈·蒙塞贝先生您好，在中国的哥伦比亚三餐娜塔莉亚·多bon女士您好，在荣誉苏氏拉丁美洲自由贸易处机会马丁尼瓦拉先生你好，参与这个活动的中国企业早上好，参与这个活动的哥伦比亚企业晚上好，欢迎来到哥伦比亚通往美洲的商业平台活动。这个活动是第四届合众对话活动的一部分，感谢中国驻哥伦比亚大使馆的支持，哥伦比亚驻中国大使馆和 Colombia 和中国国际贸易促进委员会。这个活动我们主角与中国企业在哥伦比亚的商业机会，与哥伦比亚在拉丁美洲与北美洲的产品出口。在哥伦比亚，我们有自由贸易区，以提供中国企业的商业发展。想了解更多详细资讯，请联系合众贸易投资商会与哥伦比亚投资办事处。如果您想深入了解哥伦比亚市场，可以搜持与哥伦比亚中国商会联系。在 PPT 中，您可以查到我的微信相遇，谢谢。不好意思，我说一点中文，我学习中文，在哥伦比亚跟中国人老师，这个活动我们说中文和英文，现在我说英文，谢谢。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the event, Colombia, as a nearshoring platform to the Americas. It's an honor for me to have you in this online event. As I told you already in Chinese, my name is Jaime Suarez, Sohai in Chinese. I'm the executive director of the Colombian Chinese Chamber. And this activity is part of the fourth China Dialogue, which we are organizing from the Colombian Chinese Chamber along with the Embassy of China in Colombia with the support of ProColombia. The purpose of the event is that you Chinese companies can get to know more of the opportunities that Colombia offer, not only to base your operation in our country to access the local market, but from Colombia to access other markets in Latin America and North America, taking advantage of the 17 free trade agreement Colombia currently has. Just briefly to tell you about the organization I represent, which is the Colombian Chinese Investment and Commerce Chamber. We are a nonprofit organization that was created in Colombia 10 years ago. We support Colombian companies that want to do business with China, either to import products from China or export Colombian products to China. And as well, we help Chinese companies that want to enter the Colombian market, either to identify trade opportunities as well investment opportunities in Colombia. Currently, China-Colombia relations are in a very important momentum, not only because this year is the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the China-Colombia diplomatic ties, but because Chinese investment in Colombia has been growing significantly in the past 2 years. We now have more than 80 Chinese companies that are based in Colombia, and those companies have already won important projects in our country, not only infrastructure projects as it is the Bogota Subway Line 1 or the Tren de Cercanías, but also projects in renewable energy, in telecommunications, mining, and technology. We invite more Chinese companies to enter to Colombia, and we hope that you can get to know all the information and opportunities Colombia have to offer for Chinese companies, and that more companies can establish in Colombia in the near future. 谢谢, thank you very much. Now, it's an honor for me to introduce Colombia Ambassador to China, Mr. Luis Diego Monsalve. Da Colombia Dash Luis Diego Monsalve Shenzhen.
Good morning, everyone in China. Good evening in Colombia. First of all, allow me to express a special thanks to the team of the Colombian Chinese Chamber of Investment and Commerce and China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, CCPIT, that co-host this webinar. It is a great pleasure to be here in this event in the framework of the 4th Dialogue China-Colombia, which is being held from November 25th to December 4th. Today, we will have the opportunity to listen to different visions of the opportunities for companies to invest in Colombia. Despite the circumstances and challenges, we are here to reaffirm our commitment with China and with the private sector to continue building new opportunities for both sides. This year, Colombia and China celebrate the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations, and more than a year after the state visit of President Duque, which set a milestone in our bilateral relations, launching a roadmap for a shared future, including a joint initiative Colombia-China in the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. In this regard, and to keep strengthening our ties, please let me introduce the opportunities we offer to Chinese companies. Colombia is a South American country located strategically in the middle of the Americas, which allow us to be a regional export platform. Despite the world is facing a global contraction due to COVID-19, Colombia is still one of the countries with the best growth projections in the region. We are the 4th largest economy in Latin America, with a steady growth in recent years, dynamism, and a well-known stability. We have a market of more than 50 million people based on a growing middle class with high purchasing power. Colombia's government is devoted to improving its competitiveness as a driver for economic growth, and in this sense, we offer many incentives to enable FDI that reduces costs, including an attractive tax regime. Our country has consolidated as the 3rd largest recipient of foreign investment in our region, and it is among the top 30 countries worldwide offering competitive labor and operational costs and industrial and technological infrastructure needed for a regional operation. Thanks to the trade agreements signed by Colombia, the country has become a production, distribution, and export hub for international markets. With 17 trade agreements in force, Colombia has preferential access to close to 1.5 billion consumers in markets such as the United States and the European Union. This positive business environment has attracted more than 80 Chinese companies in different sectors that are enjoying our preferential access. For example, last year was extraordinary in this matter, in which Chinese companies won the tenders for the largest infrastructure project in Latin America, Bogota Subway, and a regional railway called Regiotram. At the same time, they won several projects on the national auction for renewable energies and invested in one of the largest projects in gold mining. Today, we all wonder what the world will be like in the post-pandemic era. As experts of McKinsey mentioned, the coronavirus is not only a health crisis of immense proportion, but is imminently restructuring the global economic order where experts state that in this unprecedented new reality, we will witness a dramatic disruption in the ways businesses and society have traditionally operated. COVID-19 pandemic is a challenge for the world economy. All the policies taken by governments worldwide to reduce the spreading of the virus also mean an unparalleled impact to global economy and investment flows. In a recently published analysis, UNCTAD revised the projections on the potential impact of COVID-19 pandemic on FDI and global supply chains. The update predicts a downward pressure on global FDI estimated to be minus 30 to minus 40% leading up to 2021. According to another consultancy, post-coronavirus economy will take another shape, including the way investors will consider resilience and risk. Companies, especially in the manufacturing sector, will rethink their location footprints and seek to regionalize or localize their production and supply chains to mitigate risk. The companies will have to give priority to supply chain resilience over the current focus on efficiency. In the medium and long term, FDI flows are expected to start to recover in line with structural changes in world trade to ensure a constant supply to consumers. So how this situation, this new normal, has an impact in Colombia investment environment and help to shape opportunities, considering its location, political stability, and friendly environment for business? This is an important question that we will try to elucidate today. In this new reality, Colombia is your best choice, and we invite you to consider our country as your next investment destination. You will be more than welcome. Thank you very much.
谢谢中国的哥伦比亚大使 Luis Diego Monsalve 先前。Now we introduce Ms. Natalia Tobon, Director of ProColombia in China, as well as Commercial Counselor of Colombia in China. Ms. Natalia Tobon 在中国的哥伦比亚参参，Natalia Tobon 女士。
谢谢 Luis Diego Monsalve 大使的演讲，谢谢 Martín Gustavo Ibarra 和 Jota del Rio 与我们在一起，感谢哥伦比亚中国商会的 Jaime Suárez 先生组织这次机会，向中国公司介绍哥伦比亚拉丁美洲的最佳出口平台。我是哥伦比亚大使馆商务参参佟泰丽，很荣幸为自己欢迎词。因为这次我们有幸和自由贸易区以及税务领域相关专家为大家带来较为深入的行业洞见。首先，我想介绍一下 ProColombia。我们是隶属于哥伦比亚贸易工业旅游部，负责促进哥伦比亚出口、招商引资和推广旅游的政府机构。我们在全球33个国家是有分支机构，这些海外分支机构也担任哥伦比亚驻外大使馆经商处的职能。中国区总部在北京，是立于哥伦比亚驻华大使馆内。同时，我们在上海和广州都有同事常驻。我们尤其感谢今天连线的企业家们，感谢贵公司对我国建设发展的关注。我和我的团队，北京的石慧女士、上海的川川女士，一直接下来即将为大家演讲的广州的朱双女士，和我们位于哥伦比亚所有 ProColombia 同事，将竭诚为大家提供咨询服务。下面，请朱双女士为大家演讲为什么哥伦比亚是您在拉丁美洲最佳的出口平台。
Thank you, Ambassador Natalia and Jaime, for your presentation. Hello, everyone. I'm Gloria Zhu, Senior Investment Advisor of Colombia, China. I'm based in Guangzhou. Here goes why Colombia is a key nearshoring destination. I'm going to make it in Chinese. 在新的全球形势和双循环政策下，您是否正在寻找新的商机和机遇？新的全球变化使每项决策都处于某种不确定性中。今天我来为大家讲述为什么哥伦比亚可以使您的生产多样化以及降低投资风险。哥伦比亚在政治、经济稳定方面的表现高于拉丁美洲平均水平，而且是美国的最佳盟友。我们有几个非常好的贸易协定，可以优惠地进入该地区的区域市场，更方便地到达美国沿海以及其北部和南部的战略位置。哥伦比亚的人工和运营成本以及其他国家相比具有非常大的竞争优势。哥伦比亚非常有吸引力的税收制度，可以提供降低成本的投资激励措施，以及拥有区域运营所需要的工业和技术的基础设施。首先，让我们看一下哥伦比亚的政治和经济形势。在新冠疫情爆发之前，哥伦比亚在过去50年中持续的经济增长表现出色。根据哥伦比亚的统计部、DANE 和世界银行的资料，哥伦比亚是拉丁美洲实际 GDP 增长最快的国家，超过了智利、墨西哥和秘鲁。加入经合组织是经济稳定、透明和治理纪律的标志。经合组织提供了改善贸易和投资壁垒的准则。政府呢，促进了贸易便利化的具体改革，这使得哥伦比亚处于一个不断的改善和体制加强的过程。经合组织为外国直接投资者提供了质量保证，因为必须达到了公共政策标准才能够成为其成员，这让外国投资者增加了信心。作为经合组织的成员，哥伦比亚聚焦了重要的投资基金的目光。由哥伦比亚、墨西哥、智利和秘鲁组成的太平洋联盟，旨在加强商业、区域和自由贸易的一体化，并利用这个区域平台促进贸易协定的谈判。哥伦比亚总统杜克强调，逐渐将由各自的市长来管理，所有的这些目的都是为了恢复生产性的活动。在这个新冠疫情下，希望能够更大程度地保护民众的健康和生命。哥伦比亚开始朝着新常态迈出了新的一步。使没有呈现冠状病毒病例的城市开始处于一个限制出行的阶段，至少现在暂时不进行强制性预防性隔离，并且该国国内生产总值 2.8% 的捐款用于个人和民营部门。很多的信贷部门已经开始为私营企业提供周转贷款，为各种经济部门，例如农业、文化和体育以及任何行业的企业家提供项目救济和信贷资金。最近在8月，白宫与哥伦比亚政府启动了一项重要的经济投资计划，以促进哥伦比亚成为出口平台。众所周知，许多公司正在考虑将其公司迁移，其中很大一部分是美国的公司。因此，哥伦比亚可能成为其全球战略的一个非常有潜力的近海点。在重返美洲的倡议中，它还包括了一项价值50亿美元的农村发展项目，这一部分是有很大一部分是由私人投资者赞助。第二，我们有几项更好的贸易协定，可以优惠地进入整个拉丁美洲区域市场。哥伦比亚有17项有效的贸易协定，允许进入60个国家和1.15亿人。这意味着一站式的投入，您将可以对该半球的大多数的国家和地区享有优惠的准入标准。我们出口到美国的产品有 96% 是以零关税进入了市场。我们有非常方便的区域内容价值标准，并且在制造的过程中没有最低的工资要求，所以所有的这一些都使哥伦比亚成为进入美国和其他拉丁美洲地区的最佳条件。我们拥有非常优越的地理位置，可以轻松地到达美国沿海以及其大陆的北部和南部，以及因为它是拉丁美洲唯一拥有两洋的一个国家，南美洲唯一一个拥有两洋的国家，它也非常便利的可以到达整个拉丁美洲的其他的国家，以非常短的和有效的时间。哥伦比亚的运费比秘鲁便宜 10%到 40%， 平均到货时间为3天。从大西洋沿岸出发， 货运价格比厄瓜多尔便宜30%，运输时间更为有效，大约是5到7天，比巴西的运费低了20%到50%，运输的时间缩短了50%。卡塔赫纳是哥伦比亚北部的港口，是拉丁美洲的第4大港口，也是一个非常重要的通往美国的一个交通要道。哥伦比亚在该地区最繁忙的货运线中，具备最有竞争力的空运成本，有超过30条直接和间接的航线，有 Delta、DHL、UPS、美国航空、联合航空、LATAM 货运、Avianca、Martin Air 货运等8家航空公司提供。哥伦比亚的人工和业务成本与其他国家相比也更具竞争力。哥伦比亚在雇佣和解雇方面遵守灵活的劳工法规。贵公司在雇佣和解雇新工人并增加工作时间并不难。如果可以的话，我们可以轮流确保24小时的工作进度。我们在劳动力市场有熟练、有才干和勤奋的人。而哥伦比亚不论年龄大小都具有较高的中学和高等教育入学率。我们在电力、工业、天然气和水方面的公用事业成本上也具有竞争力。每个城市不同的地区成本类型不同，您可以根据自己公司的需求，向我们提供相关特定区域咨询更详细的这个成本信息。哥伦比亚的税收制度也非常具有吸引力，并提供了降低成本的投资激励措施来鼓励外商投资。例如，在我们的自由贸易区建立公司有很多好处。有且不限于所得税20%，以及您购买国际和国内原材料、资本货物和服务，以及出口货物和服务，以及基础设施等相关的关税和增值税为0。而这些项目在哥伦比亚境内的话，一般税率是19%。如果是出口商品和服务，在当地的ICA税是在自贸区的话也是为0，而在境内其他区域就是一般税率为总销售额的1.14%。如果您从其他地区购买您公司发展相关物资，免征增值税。您也可以把产品在这个自贸区加工以后销售到哥伦比亚境内。最重要的是，如果您想通过哥伦比亚出口到其他地区和国家，那么自由贸易区可能是您最好的选择之一，因为公司在这里可以获得原产地证明，以获得特惠出口关税。哥伦比亚在全国领土上设有112个自由贸易区。特别是在该国的主要海港和机场附近，其中有43个是永久性自贸区，有62%是特别永久性自贸区或单一的公司自贸区。关于这一方面，一会儿我们会有Martin Ibarra 先生是这个方面的专家来给大家解读。还有其他的一些投资鼓励措施可以补充。例如，如果是巨额投资，比如是在国家领土内新投资超过大约3.2亿美元的话，这样的它有逐年降低企业所得税，例如2020年降低32%，2021年降低31%，2022年降低30%，还有其他的控股公司、分销中心、股息利益等等，还有一些生产性的实际固定性的这个资产投资，以及包括橙色经济、农业、可再生能源、森林种植和河流运输服务等项目的免税收入的等等，非常多的这些优惠政策。希望贵公司根据自己的行业可以直接与我们联系，我们会为您提供行业内的相关的这个政策解读。这是对哥伦比亚、智利、秘鲁、墨西哥、阿根廷和巴西之间的奖励措施的一个比较。总体而言，哥伦比亚在综合激励方面拥有更好的地位。如果您想了解贵公司可能采取以及获得的一些激励措施，那么可以向我们提出具体的咨询。哥伦比亚在某一些行业提供特殊的投资鼓励措施，例如，如果是首次雇佣年轻的雇员的话，也可以减免相应的税费。或者是如果您是在非常规能源，比如太阳能、风能、生物能等等一些新能源领域的话，那么在这一方面我们也有相应的这个投资总额这个价值的50%的减少，它的有效期是在15年内，以及如果是投资于控制和改善环境的话，政府也会给予奖励措施。那么哥伦比亚在高净的人才和产业聚集群上面也不遗余力。 哥伦比亚政府以零关税推出了针对造船业的促进政策，以及特殊旅游项目和基础设施，以及 Plan Vallejo Express 计划。在新冠疫情后，希望在这个经济当中能够更加灵活的刺激经济的发展。在哥伦比亚，您可以轻松的招聘到技术熟练的员工。根据世界经济论坛的数据，在整个地区，我们在熟练员工中拥有相对更多的专业人员，以及 SENA 哥伦比亚的国家教育体系，可以帮助您的公司免费提供一些增值的服务。哥伦比亚为新的经济现实中提供了必要的技术基础设施，我们有11条海底电缆，并且是在这个地区的第2大国家，有更好的连接性、传输性和稳定性。根据商务部的数据，2010年哥伦比亚注册了280万的宽带链接，到2018年的时候，这个数字就达到了3270万。同样，哥伦比亚有1000多个城市与光纤相连，而在2010年，这个数据仅覆盖了200个城市。哥伦比亚在区域1级提供具有竞争力的成本，是提供 IT 服务的全球最低运营成本之一。相比之下，墨西哥、哥斯达黎加和智利等国家的运营成本会比哥伦比亚高出30%到60%，与秘鲁相比，该国的成本可能会高出5%到10%。在制造业中，哥伦比亚是您下一个扩展目的地的理想之选。我们拥有超过12万多个活跃的多元化的制造业，并且与该地区其他国家相比，每年创建了8000多个新的能够为您提供更好的供应链的上下游。哥伦比亚在行业的这个工资是低于阿根廷、秘鲁、巴西和智利的。正如不久前刚提到的，哥伦比亚提供了以有竞争力的成本轻松的获取本地和本地进口原材料的优势。许多中国公司首先考虑将其产品都在当地商业化经销，但这是一个具有当地的法规的一个游戏规则的新世界。很多人当地的本地人会相信更多的在当地有实体的公司，而不仅仅是一个没有本地支持或者售后服务的一个进口商。所以作为客户的本地合作伙伴，如果贵公司在当地有实体的话，您的公司的业绩可能会表现得更好。以汽车工业为例，哥伦比亚是拉丁美洲第4大汽车生产国，从零部件的生产到车辆的组装，已经形成了比较完整的产业链。政府允许该国非生产的汽车组件免税进口，并且根据哥伦比亚和安第斯国家签署的相关协定，只要达到最低本地生产率约35%的话，车辆就可以零关税出售给秘鲁、厄瓜多尔、玻利维亚和委内瑞拉等邻国。电动汽车、汽车零件和造船厂零件也是我们确定为哥伦比亚国内和国际市场潜在的一个细分市场。那么这是一个我们哥伦比亚贸易投资旅游局在中国的一个团队的一个微信群，大家可以扫码加入群。我们北京的石慧女士、上海的全女士以及我在广州，我们时刻准备着为您提供前往哥伦比亚所需要知道的信息。那么您在哥伦比亚的下一站，我们全程竭诚为您服务，非常感谢。Gracias, Jaime.
谢谢 Gloria， 朱女士，谢谢。Now it's an honor to introduce Mr. Martín Ibarra. Mr. Martín Ibarra is 中国苏式拉丁美洲自由贸易日机会。Mr. Martín Ibarra is the honorary president of the Free Trade Zones Association of the Americas. He's as well the vice president of the World Free Zones Organization. He's the honorary president of the Colombian Chinese Chamber. And he's the CEO of the firm Araujo Ibarra. He was part of the delegation that created China's Special Economic Zones back in 1983. Mr. Martín, welcome. It's an honor to have you here in this online seminar.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaime. Okay, thank you, Jaime. Mr. Ambassador of Colombia in Beijing, Ms. Natalia Tobón and Gloria Xu from Colombia, Jaime Suarez, director of the Colombian and Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and the other member of the panel. For me, it's an honor to be this evening in Colombia, or this morning in China, speaking about the China Plus One strategy, about the opportunities of nearshoring that our country, Colombia, has in this moment. Next, please. What is happening now in international trade? Well, in the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of things are happening now in international trade. The trade war between the United States and China that promote President Trump. The change of the global value to regional values. The transformation of container to package for the cross-border e-commerce, and China is the world champion of transnational e-commerce. And the new products that now we have after the COVID-19. This is the main topics that are happening now in international trade. Next, please. As you know, because the commercial war between the United States and China and the custom duty that the United States charged to China last year, more than $90 billion was reduced the export from China to the United States. Of those, $80 billion were relocated in other countries like Vietnam, Mexico, Taiwan, France, Netherlands, Switzerland, India, Colombia, and others. Of this country, only Mexico and Colombia has free trade agreement with the United States. That means that in a state to pay the between 15 to 25 and up that the Chinese product today paying in the United States, if you with raw material, Chinese raw material, finish the production in Colombia, you will export to the United States zero tax. This is an amazing advantage that the Chinese company has if they use Colombia as a platform for the final process of the industrial goods that they are exporting. As you know, China used to be the #1 exporter in the world, the #1 exporter in the world to the United States. Don't lose your market. Complement your value chain. We are in the process of changing distant chains for regional chains, production chains. This is very important. Some companies like McKinsey are making survey that show that almost 90% of the company that are asking their opinion are willing to move the production near the consumer. The proximity of the consumer and not the cost today is the rule for the new regional value chain. What are you looking in a complementary market? Geographical proximity to the customer, free trade agreements, zero tax, because now the taxes are very, very high, legal security, a very good business environment, a good and skilled labor, entertainment and quality of life, and digital and innovation ecosystem. And all these 6 factors you can find in Colombia. What is the China Plus One Colombia strategy? Well, you have to take in consideration that the 96% of the custom positions of the subsidies that China exported to the United States in 2020 were subject to net valorem tariff, import duty, between 15 to up to 63%. China is by far the #1 import tax payer in the United States, almost the 70% on all the import taxes that the United States collect for all the countries around the world. By the opposite, the same figure, the 96% of the export of Colombia to the United States have zero taxes. This is very important. This is very important because Colombia has the best free trade agreement with the United States in the world. The United States only have free trade agreement with 20 countries. China only have free trade agreement for 16 countries, and now they begin to be member of the RCEP. But in this chart on your right, you can see the difference, even in some countries that has free trade agreement with the United States, like Mexico, Chile, and Peru, they pay higher taxes than Colombia because the special rules that Colombia has with the United States. For example, in the new NAFTA, you know that the NAFTA, the free trade, used to be the free trade agreement between Mexico, United States, and Canada. And that was renegotiated by President Trump. The President Trump not only declared the commercial war to China, they even renegotiated the free trade agreement with Mexico and Canada. And now the origin rule is more, in some cases, up to 75% of regional value. In contrast, the maximum value added in Colombia is 45%, and the most of the products are 35%. That means a product could be 65% Chinese, 35% of value added Colombia, labor, packaging, profit, transportation, and logistics, and the final good will enter with the United States zero tax. That is very, very important because through Colombia, China has a free trade agreement with the United States. The already distance. We are between 6 to 12 days far to different ports of the United States. And it's that very important. For example, in the Caribbean, on your right, because as you know, Colombia has two oceans. We have coast over the Caribbean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, and even we can coast over the Pacific Sea. And we have lines that carry the merchandise in both sides of the country. By the way, in the northern part of Colombia, we are nearest the east part of the United States than Mexico. Mexico is near the central part and the western part of the United States, but Colombia is more near the east part of the United States than Mexico. That is very, very important. And not only time, the cost of the container. That is very, very interesting argument to think and relocate the last part of the production procedure of your goods that today are exported to the United States from China with higher taxes. The other thing is Colombia has the lowest cost by plane to the United States. As you know, a lot of merchandise today from e-commerce and other high value added are exporting to the United States by plane. For example, the cost of transportation by air from China to the United States is $3.5 per kilo. From Japan is $3, from Korea is $4, for Singapore is $4, for Australia is 2.5, and from Colombia is $1. $1.13 is the lowest freight that any other country with Panama has to export by air to the United States. That means you can carry your raw material by ship to Buenaventura. You can finalize your goods in Colombia and then export by air to the United States. Or in the case of the e-commerce, you can transform the containers that came by sea, for example, in Cali, and send by airplane to the United States to transform container in package and package take the airplanes and reach in 3 hours, 3.5 hours, the United States. That will be a fantastic strategy. It's very good that you know that the Colombian Free Trade Zone has a better income tax than China. The income tax in the special economic zone in China today are 25% of tariff. In Colombia, it's 20%. It's 5 points less. But if you, on the other hand, do not have to pay any import taxes in the United States, 5 points of difference in income tax, 15 to 25 points of difference in import tax in the United States, and a shorter time of transportation is a great opportunity for a Chinese company in Colombia. Colombia is a destiny to make very profitable your business. We have, as I told before, the best free trade agreement in the world with the United States. We have a flexible exchange rate. We have more than 117 free trade zones in many parts of more than 20 regions in Colombia has free trade zone in the coast, in the internal city, etc. As I told before, we have the lowest air freight to the United States. That is very important argument to think in Colombia. This is a very good chart because Colombia has the best tax strategy in front of the other medium and big countries in Latin America. And we have another region, another regime of mega investment. My friend Fabio is going to explain what is mega investment. You can combine mega investment with free trade zone, and that will be a very good strategy for, of course, for very large investment in Colombia. But even for medium and small companies, you can be in the multi-company free trade zone, and we have of the 117, we have more than 30 multi-company free trade zone around the whole country. Next, please. This is a few arguments that I have to share with you. But by the way, this tie that I have today, I bought in Beijing, is the ceiling of the Forbidden City. It's a copy of the ceiling of the Forbidden City, and I am very proud to put this tie for this panel. Thank you very much for your attention today.
Thank you, Mr. Martin Ibarra, for your presentation. It was really complete, and we hope that more Chinese companies with this presentation can see Colombia as, well, your destination to enter to our market. Now we will continue this online event with Mr. Fabio Osorio, who is the tax director and country head of J.A. Del Rio firm.
Thanks, Jaime, and everyone. Thank you for being here with us at this time. Let me just introduce a little bit about our firm. We are a tax and accounting firm, which has more than 30 years of experience helping foreign companies do business in Latin America. In this case, I'm going to explain and talk to you about a little bit more what are the tax aspects you might consider and the benefits of being in Colombia and do business and consider Colombia as the platform of your businesses in the region. So first, let me see, that will be the aspect that I will talk. First, the general aspects of establish a company in Colombia. Second, the main taxes applicable to the companies in Colombia. Third, the special regimens to attract investment in Colombia. Fourth, the main exempt income that will attract as well investment to Colombia. And last but not lastly, the double taxation agreements that you might consider when you are doing businesses in Colombia. So talking about how to operate in Colombia, well, Martin will explain very deeply the free trade zones and why Colombia is a great opportunity for the Chinese entities to do business in Colombia. And the Chinese can do as well and can operate even from China, import-export businesses, export or import products to Colombian, import products or raw materials in Colombia through a direct operation setting and establish a branch or a subsidiary in Colombia, or having a permanent established, that I will explain what is a permanent established in Colombia. So what is a permanent established? The permanent established is a tax fiction that the government has created to give the opportunity the foreign entities to operate in Colombia without set or establish any entity. However, it cannot be as well any permanent established and just do all the businesses abroad. When will be a permanent established in Colombia? If the operations or the businesses that you are doing in Colombia is not just an auxiliary or preparatory activities, or the perform activities are essential of the businesses, or the person who are doing the activities in Colombia can close or contracts or sign agreements with the clients, you will have a permanent established in Colombia. And the permanent established has to have a tax ID and pay taxes in Colombia, mainly the corporate income tax and as well the VAT that I'm going to explain in the next slide. What are the main permanent established? The branches or foreign companies are considered as well as permanent established. The agency, offices, factories, workshops, mines, carriers, and oil and gas wells are considered as permanent established. The permanent established, as I mentioned, is a tax fiction and can apply any entity that are doing business in Colombia directly, as soon as the legal law doesn't obligate the foreign entities to set a subsidiary or a branch in Colombia. So it depends on the activity. What are the main taxes that you have to consider and bear in mind where you are doing businesses? First, the corporate income tax, the VAT, the withholding tax, the industry and commerce or revenue tax, and the municipal taxes, as well as the transfer pricing regulation. So nowadays, the corporate income tax in Colombia is 32%, and it's going down to 30% from 2022. The sales tax or the VAT is nowadays the general rate 19%. So Martin mentioned what is really important. If you are doing businesses in Colombia inside the free trade zone, you will save that 19% in your production, and you can use Colombia as a platform to export to the USA. As well as you will have a 0% rate if your business is on services exportation. So you can have, for instance, a call center, which is a very, very popular nowadays in Colombia, and doing all the operation in Colombia, but for foreign companies. So you are invoicing to the foreign company, so you will have a 0% rate on VAT. The withholding tax is just an advance payment for the corporate income tax, and the rate it's about 1% to 33%, depending on the service or the activities you are performing. As well as the industry and commerce is another tax that is a municipal one. You have to pay based on your revenues, 1% of your revenues. On the other hand, you have another municipal taxes. It depends on where are you located. It depends on the city that you have set your subsidiary or your company in Colombia. You have to pay vehicle tax if you have vehicles, as well, of course. Property tax if you have any property. Public lights, among others. And when you are operating between related parties, you have to consider that there is a transfer pricing rules that you have to fulfill in Colombia. So you have to consider that rules as well. The main difference between subsidiaries and branch or permanently established, consider the tax aspect, is that for the subsidiaries are taxed based on the worldwide income sources. So even if they're performing activities from abroad, they have to pay taxes in Colombia or included in the corporate income tax. Whereas the branches or the permanent established just are taxed based on the income attributed to the branch or the operations of the permanent established in Colombia. Main tax benefits that the foreign investor has to consider, therefore, special regimens. The first one is the Colombian holding companies regimen. If you are thinking just not doing business in Colombia, but in the whole Latin American region, that would be great to use a holding entity to hold all the investments in the region. I'm going to explain deeply. The mega investments that Martin has talked about, it would be great to use it as well as applicable in the free trade zones. I'm going to explain what are the main exempt income you will have in some activities to attract investment, and the main double taxation agreements that Colombia has with other countries, and that would be great to use in your operation to make your tax efficient and pay what you have to pay, but no more than that. So let's talk about the Colombian holding companies. The main benefits of that companies is that you won't have to pay any tax related to the dividends. So any dividends that are distributed from the subsidiaries or foreign entities, local entities of the holding companies won't pay any tax to the holding entity, and the holding won't pay any tax or withhold any tax when are distribute the dividends to the foreign investors. So that would be great if you are thinking doing business not just in Colombia but in the region. As I mentioned, if you set up a Colombian holding entity and hold all the operations in Colombia, you can have the opportunity that all the activities, for instance, if you have entities not just in Colombia but in Chile, Peru, Argentina, Uruguay, all the dividends that they transfer to the holding entity won't pay any tax in Colombia, and that will be surtaxed directly to the foreign investor. So will be Colombia as a plan for your operations. What are the requirements that you have to consider? First, you have to establish a Colombian entity. Second, the main activity of this entity has to be investment or shareholding. Third, it has to be at least 10% of capital direct or indirect participation of the entities that you hold for at least 12 months, and have at least 3 employees hired directly related to the invest activities, and the invest activities decision making has to carry out in Colombia. The mega investment, as we mentioned and Martin explained, has a special corporate income tax. Nowadays, as I mentioned, it's 32, but in the mega investment, you will have just 27% of corporate income tax. You will have a legal stability for 20 years, so you will avoid that any new tax affect your investment in Colombia, because you won't have any other different tax that the taxes that are already in force. You can accelerate the depreciation in the first 2 years, so you can have more expenses on the depreciation and decrease the profit if you have the profit in the first years, or have more tax credit to use in the future. And the special rate to distribute the dividends will be 27%, as well as the presumptive income, which is the minimum income applicable in Colombia, would not be applied for the companies which apply to the Mega Invest regimen. And what are the requirements? You have to establish an entity and be approved by the government before the 2024. Generate at least 400 direct employees associated with the development of the projects, or 250 for investment with a high technology component. The investment must be executed in 5 years, and it don't have apply to projects for evaluation or exploitation of non-renewable natural resources. Now let's talk about main exempt incomes that you can apply as well. That's the biggest and the main opportunity the government has set in the last tax reform in Colombia. They call the orange economy. The orange economy gives you the opportunity to have 7 years of 0% corporate income tax. So you won't have to pay any corporate income tax for that period. If your company is considered or develop technology value add industry or creative activities such as computer consulting, add develop of computer system, editing software programs, movie post-production, sound and music recording activities, literary, music, and theatrical creations. What are the requirements? The main requirements is to have an entity in Colombia before 2021, to hire a number of employees depending on the activities. It can be 3 to 20 employees depending, and to have the invest project approved by the Ministry of Culture. And this orange economy, it can be doing as well through the free trade zones. So you will have not just 7 years of zero corporate income tax, but after that time you will have a special rate of 20%. So it will be really great. The agro incentive, you have 10 years of exempt income for agro culture operations, such as rice crops, cereals, vegetables, rose, tobacco, textile plants, coffee, sugar, cane, as well as livestock or other activities to support the agriculture and livestock. What are the requirements? As the other ones, you have to establish a Colombian entity before 2022 in this case, and have a number of employees depending of the activities you are performing, and at least an income of 2.7 million. And this regimen applies as well in the free trade zones. You have as well of exempt incomes on sale of electric energy or unconventional energy for 15 years, depending on your activities, and fulfill the requirements that you are showing in this slide. And finally, the double taxation agreement that Colombia has signed nowadays. Well, Colombia has a double taxation agreement with Mexico, which is a great opportunity as well if you are thinking Colombia and an operation with Mexico and then with the US. Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Bolivia, as well as in Europe and Asia, has Spain, Switzerland, Canada, Portugal, Korea, India, Czech Republic, United Kingdom, and France. What is the special thing that you have to consider in this case? The double taxation agreement gives you the opportunity to have even 0% of withholding tax in the operation between the companies from abroad and Colombia, or even if you have any tax rate or withholding in Colombia, such as technical services or technical assistance services or consulting, it will be like 10% instead of 20%, which is the local law. And that rate, you can use it as a tax credit in your country, so you don't have any double taxation. That is really great to consider when you are doing businesses in Colombia with other entities and thinking about the corporation you have to set to do your businesses across the world. So that was the main thing that I wanted to share with you. So please go ahead if you have any inquiries, please. I would be very pleased to explain deeply any other questions you might have. Thank you very much, Jaime, and everyone to be here with us today.
Thank you very much, Fabio, for your presentation. We already are having requests about if you can share your presentations with the companies, the Chinese companies that are here with us, joining us today. It was really complete, and it will be really useful for Chinese companies that want to enter to the Colombian market.
Of course.
Well, we see it was very clear. All the information, we have no questions. However, if you have any questions, right now it's the moment for you to ask. That as well, we will send you the presentation as well as the information of all the panelists that joined and were part of this event today, in case you want to reach each one of us personally and to write us about a specific inquiry. We are, as I have mentioned during the event, we want to welcome to enter Colombia, to explore the opportunities. We can support you from the Colombian Chinese Chamber of Commerce, as well as ProColombia, and as well of our members, Araújo Ibarra and J. del Rio. Hope to see you in Colombia soon, and hope to see you in China as well very soon. Have a great day in China, and for the ones that are in Colombia, hope you have a good night. Thank you very much. 谢谢你，再见。